plans. Okay, I'll go live on YouTube. Hello. What's up? Happy Friday. A little early today. I already have somebody who identifies as a cat who came by to see this video. So that proves that it's not a conspiracy theory. We're proposing, am I going to say for real? Wouldn't that be funny? What if the WEF really had Agenda 2030 plans? But it's not even the WEF behind Agenda 2030, is it? Agenda 2030 is the United Nations, if I get my conspiracy theories correct. I've heard that central bank digital currencies are a conspiracy theory, or conspiracy theorists talk about central bank digital currencies and the total control that's coming. While conspiracy theorists say that kids are using litter boxes. That's what conspiracy theorists say. I found out today. But is it true? I don't know. I'm going to show you all the people that say it. We'll get people tuned in. Yeah, I think I'm confused people because of my early start. It's because I'm going out with my wife. So help me out. We'll do earlier shows on Fridays, maybe. Then I can go to town or something. Does that sound okay? I know. You get used to the same thing. I know people who don't even do shows on Friday evenings. Like the crypto person I listen to doesn't even do a show Friday nights because, like, what are people doing? I want to talk to you guys about conspiracy theories. I have an update on Kanye West getting unbanked. We can talk about central bank digital currencies since you're here. And it's an educational podcast. And like what you should worry about, or whether you need to worry about it, or whether you need to worry about the government seizing your money or banks seizing your money. Or do you think the wrong things? One day in the future, are you going to say the wrong thing about the wrong person and get sued for $1 billion? These are things that like your average person is thinking about, because of people like PayPal. PayPal says, we don't like you, so we're just going to take your money. That's new, right? That was new this week. So PayPal and JP Morgan, it's a theme having to do with your money and bankers. And then did Kanye West get unbanked because of what he said about Jews? I have an update on that story, so I'm going to tell you. I'll give you all of that in this episode, and then we'll wrap up. So thanks for tuning in. Oh, look at this. Thanks for tuning in. You can support the show by tipping on Rockfin if you're over there, or by going to buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil. And you could drop a tip and a message, and I'll read it on the show. Okay. Just got an important text message. All right, let me start the show. It will start. Trust me. Oh, shoot. This isn't working. Okay. Well, we can just start without the intro. Should I pantomime it? We can just start without the intro. Oh, geez. It's been a long week. Let me show you guys what's going on with the... Hold on. I don't think I feel right without hearing this thing. Bear with me, guys. This is you know that it's experimental. The title for the show is experimental. I should have gone with something more like the world is ending. But I did want to make a joke about litter boxes. Let me see if this works. Okay. There it is. Okay. All right. Bear with me, guys. We're going to get this show working. Okay. Cue musical intro. Boy, that's brilliant. I do think some things in the world are real. Like you guys. You guys are real. Most of you. Most of my listeners, I think, are not just in my head. I think I have the metrics to prove it. You've taken a leap of faith today. What is that sound? And I apologize if you take offense. I'm a little offended myself. Welcome to our show. Welcome to the future. What it is, joining you live from sunny California. It's a beautiful day today. I'm your host, Nathan Stoltman. I bring you the news, the real news. Yes, damn right. No matter what. So I'm going to bring you the news about the litter boxes. Okay, first, let me give you an update on Kanye West and his bank being closed. And we can talk about CBDCs too, like I said, while you're here. But people are saying that it was closed because of what he said about Jewish people. So, right, that's the narrative. Candace Owens put out the thing that said he got banned from JP Morgan Chase. JP Morgan Chase, which had to pay a huge fine because they banked Bernie Madoff, this Ponzi scheme, a lot longer than they should have. So they cut ties with Kanye West, who is a very wealthy black guy who said some things recently that people found to be controversial, including Ben Shapiro. So I'll show you that. Anyway, people said the bank banned him because of what he said about Jews. Turns out TMZ is reporting that Kanye West was banned before what he said about Jews. So people who are saying that he got banned because of that, apparently TMZ is reporting that the email that was shared by Candace Owens was actually sent on September 20th, which is a while back, like a month ago, almost, that he got told before wearing the White Lives Matter t-shirt and before saying the things about Jewish people that got him in trouble. So it's possible that him getting unbanked because of what he said is not why he got unbanked, and that he got unbanked because he was already talking smack about JP Morgan on Instagram. He had aired out his grievances with Chase, writing this. He wrote this on Instagram, it looks like. I need a shoe company like how Jamie Seltzer bought Reebok, or I'll take over some shoe factories. I've went to JP Morgan, but of course they won't give me no deal flow because Jen Ulrich's on the board of both Adidas and JP Morgan. What shoe company will give me control? I need to be head of the board and the chief decision maker, he said. So maybe I was worried that he wasn't going to be able to get banking if he got cut off because of what he said about Jewish people. Because if he got cut off for a reason, then I was worried that no other bank would take him either because of that. And again, it is kind of unprecedented, but not unprecedented because other banks had already cut ties with what they called white supremacists or white nationalists in the past. We had heard stories about that, people being unbanked who were called white nationalists. I had seen that before, but this is a first for like a black celebrity, certainly, or even a celebrity getting cut off of banking. So it could be. So if this news story from TMZ is true, okay, that's good. It's worth it's good reporting that, as a matter of fact, he had some kind of beef with JP Morgan that could be the reason that they ended the relationship. So he might not have been unbanked because of what he said. If he was unbanked because of what he said, then, that's where we're entering this new age, right? This is what people worry about, because it started with the first mass before. It's a thing now that people are talking about, but nobody cared when everybody got banned from PayPal for having wrongthink, and not enough people cared when people started getting banned from Patreon for saying the wrong thing. But this stuff is really important. So now people are starting to recognize that financial freedom matters. But I was banned from PayPal years ago. And I think, although I don't know, I think it was because of something I said about Jewish people. So even though I like Jewish people, I think some of them are really great. And I don't talk about whatever it is. I said something that offended somebody, and they canceled me from PayPal. And they canceled friends of mine from PayPal, and they hold your money. And that's wrong, especially since, there's no reason not to bank me. I deserve to be banked. I'm a human. Humans deserve banking services, I believe. Just like humans have the right to use social media, I believe too. But liberals don't believe that. So the people that want to control the world want to control your finances, because if they can control your finances, then they can control you. These interdimensional vampires, if they can control your finances, then they can control your behavior. So it's all about behavior modification. So if you're supporting the truckers, they want you not to do that. So they'll penalize you if you do. They want to modify your behavior, make you work in line, stay in line. So in the future, so this is like where it starts with PayPal. And then some banks cut off services to people. We don't know, though, why Kanye got unbanked. Maybe it's not because of what he said about Jews. And maybe he'll find another bank, which I hope he does. Kanye, I think, could do some things to bring himself back into society. I think he probably does have to apologize. But he should, I hope, like I said, that he can bank somewhere, because it's not right I think racists should be allowed to have bank accounts, even if they're really racist. So even though I'm against racism. So that's just how I feel. I guess it's maybe a libertarian thing, but I'm not trying to control people's behavior. But they want to control your behavior. The interdimensional vampires, they do want to control your behavior. And they think they know better than you. So they want to control your behavior as far as global warming goes. And they'd love to be able to leverage financial institutions in order to do that. Probably right now, if you said stuff against climate change, if you said climate change was a hoax, you'd probably get banned from PayPal. They like that. They like that. They love it. They love to see people suffer. And they love to be able to change people's behavior too by making them suffer. The interdimensional vampires, would prefer if we were using central bank digital currencies, because the difference now, right now, we don't use cash much, right? I don't use cash. I believe in cash, but I don't use it because it's inconvenient compared to digital money, which is more convenient. When you pay with Apple Pay or something, I find it convenient compared to cash. It's faster, it's less touching, etc. So it's good. Digital, that kind of transaction is kind of tracked, but it's not really tracked because the government, if the government wanted to look at your bank transactions, they would have to get a warrant for that, technically. Now, what might they be doing without having a warrant? What might they be doing illegally as far as monitoring us? We don't know the extent of that. What they might be doing. Well, they probably have the capability to monitor our bank accounts, but technically speaking, they're not allowed to without a warrant. So if you're operating as a normal person, law-abiding person, and you get some deposits, stuff to your bank account, and they're cool, you don't have to tell the government about that. They'd have to come in. They have to have a reason to think you were doing something wrong to get a warrant, and then they could look if they had a reasonable suspicion. But if you don't give them a reasonable suspicion, they're not supposed to be looking at your bank accounts, which is one of the reasons why it's it was insulting what they're doing with the PayPal and Cash App, where they have to declare all transactions over $600. Normally, money comes into your bank account. I'm just telling you, you can accept money to your bank account without telling the government about it. And the government would have to have a good reason to go and look for it, right? So you don't want to give them good reasons. First of all, you want to just do what you're supposed to do. But that's the way it is now. The government would prefer it. Say, like, they passed the law about the $600 that you get. If you get $600, now they want to know about it, and they're gonna know about it. Even if it was cool, even if it wasn't taxable, it was donations. Like, for example, if you get donations, they're not supposed to be taxable to a certain level, right? So that's weird. It's not normal income. So, but you'd kind of have to declare it as income because of what the government says now. So CBDCs, central bank digital currencies, cryptocurrency run by the government, would basically make it so that every transaction just would automatically be tracked. Like, they couldn't help but track it. They couldn't help but know what you're doing. And then on top of that, the money is programmable. So you can program it and say, oh, you can only spend this much money on meat this week, and you can spend much more money on bugs. For example, they'll be like, oh, your meat quota for the week is $30, but your bugs quota is $100. So that's how in the future they will encourage you to eat bugs, is by using your CBDCs and programming them. So they'll just say, oh, you can't spend anymore, or you already got too much gasoline this week. You can only spend this many crypto dollars on gasoline. Or they might say, this money expires. This money expires in 30 days, so you have to spend it, which would be terrible. I mean, all these things are really terrible, and they're like, and would spell like doom for society, and probably doom for the currency too. But the interdimensional vampires, they like that kind of thing. So you would think that they would want to institute that kind of thing and impose it on the rest of us, who they regard as like sheep or cattle or something to be farmed. Like, we are something that gets farmed and used. That's how the Fed thinks about us too. They're like, we need unemployment to go up. They don't think, oh, millions of people will suffer by losing their jobs. They think, we need unemployment to go up so that people think we're serious. Because right now, people don't think we're serious. They don't think about human suffering or anything like that. They just think about numbers, data, like spreadsheets. They see the stock market go down. They mean, oh, good, what we're doing is working. They don't think of like the pain and destruction. That's bankers, though. So CBDCs, yes, I don't talk about it much because I'm not going to use it. You can use something better. What if I told you that there was already a better system? What if I told you that that somebody during the last financial crisis foresaw this future and came up with an alternative? What if I told you that alternative financial network has never been down and no one's ever had any problem transferring value on the chain that it operates on? It's completely decentralized, and it allows you to transfer value from A to B anywhere on Earth without a central authority. What if I told you that technology is already deployed and it could be used tomorrow with technology that we already have by people using their smartphones? Could be fully integrated and functional tomorrow. Like if I wanted to, I could pay for stuff in Solana, Dogecoin, Litecoin, Bitcoin, Ethereum tomorrow in the store. It'd be pretty easy. But if I told you that already existed, well, it does. So you can use as long as that exists, then you have a choice to not use CBDCs. So when it comes time for the CBDCs, then you want to say no, or just exchange them for something better, like Bitcoin, Litecoin, Dogecoin, some other currency thing. Yeah, probably Bitcoin's the best, safest. But so a person who hid their identity very well, who went by Satoshi Nakamoto, could see all of this. He could see the future. He was actually a time traveler, turned out. And he was here when they shut down the truckers. And he said, okay, I'm going to create something. But you know what happened with the truckers and Bitcoin is they banned the Bitcoin that the truckers got too. So what can I say? Bitcoin isn't perfect either. So if you really want something that criminals can use, that everybody can use, that doesn't matter who you are, physical gold and silver might still be the final answer as far as physical exchange of value. But for digital, you could also get Monero too. And you could look into it. Privacy money, where you can send it anonymously. That exists too and is fully deployable immediately, anytime we want. But instead, they're going to come in with central bank digital currencies to institute full control over all of us. Okay, so let me get to the thing that I put in the title. God, I did this show at a different time. I did the show at a different time with a different title. And probably what I'm going to do is change the title for the podcast. So for the people who are watching now, the title to the show was Litter Boxes in Every Classroom by 2030. New WEF goal. But the title for the podcast, or when this gets released, it's probably going to be something apocalyptic, probably. You'll see. And that's why you tuned into the podcast. Not to hear about the litter box conspiracy theory. But the litter box conspiracy theory, that's what I was thinking about today. I want to know if it's real. I want to know if the litter box conspiracy is real, because it's interesting on a lot of different levels. Oh, let me tell you about this, about Tulsi Gabbard. She's going to come up in this conspiracy too. Is Tulsi Gabbard, people are saying, is a WEF, controlled opposition, WEF stooge. So somebody shared this today of Tulsi Gabbard denying that she is part of World Economic Forum. This is apparently Tulsi Gabbard on somewhere. I don't know if it's Instagram or that says, somebody asked, why are you part of the World Economic Forum? She said, I'm not. They put my picture on their site without asking. Never had anything to do with them, she says. Then someone shows this tweet that says, this is how controlled opposition works, y'all, where Tulsi Gabbard tweeted March 18th, 2015, I'm honored to be selected as 2015 YGL Voices representing Hawaii amongst leaders from around the world. So she did tweet out in support of World Economic Forum at one point, and people are saying she's controlled opposition. And when I did a poll, people said they don't trust Tulsi Gabbard. That's what people said in the poll. 75% said they don't trust Tulsi Gabbard. So this is why. So there's this conspiracy about Tulsi Gabbard. But on the other hand, I have this. So just to settle it, as far as the reason I still like Tulsi Gabbard, even though I know she was on that WEF thing, even though she said that about WEF, is now she says bad things about them. And she always seems to say the right thing about things. So what she said, what she tweeted May 31st of this year, she tweeted, while we struggle to afford food and fuel, the elite gathered Davos WEF to discuss how we should be allowed to live our lives. Their totalitarian dream of the so-called Great Reset, where people own nothing and are tracked, monitored with every step, must be condemned by us all, she said, about the World Economic Forum. So she did talk shit about him. So I think she's okay. She is okay mostly in my book. Just the fact that she says something about, the fact that she tweeted that, I think is good enough for me. Now, she also talked on Joe Rogan about kids using litter boxes in school. That's something people are saying. I'm going to show you all the people that are saying the kids are using litter boxes in school. And thanks everybody who supports the show. If you want to support the show, go to buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil. I know you appreciate this kind of in-depth research. We want to know. So I'm going to show you all the people who say that there are litter boxes in classrooms. And this person says that it's been debunked. They falsely claimed that schools are accommodating kids who identify as cats. And that was just on the Joe Rogan show. I'm going to play that clip for you. But here's one clip. This is Heidi Ganal, GOP nominee for Colorado governor. Okay, so I'll play this.
Learning all that. Wow. I'm just kind of speechless thinking about this.
I'm going to make you feel even more uncomfortable about this.
Yeah.
There are these things called furries that are showing up in schools now. And it's kids who identify as animals, furry animals. And they're allowing this to happen in Colorado schools, in lots of different schools around the country.
Forgive my grin. Are we supposed to take that part seriously?
I know.
At what point do we say, okay, but that's just stupid? That's crazy.
They're allowing this to happen. And finally, a middle school in Douglas County
did you know a single furry when you were a kid?
No.
Like, was anyone being?
Now every kid
was born a furry.
Any teenager, a middle school or a high school, if they know a furry, and they will answer yes. I bet you.
Okay, so
and they mute. They don't talk. They growl and they meow. It's bizarre. It's bizarre, but that's an extreme example.
But it's happening.
It's happening.
A lot of things are extreme examples that are now mainstream,
right?
Because of
there you go. So they're
learning all that.
Okay. So I got that. So that the kids identify as furries. Apparently, this is a conspiracy theory. So we're going to find out. I want to know if it's true or not, because a lot of people say it. Here's another guy talking about it at a Trump rally with Marjorie Taylor Greene. People are saying it's a big lie. This is a big lie. The thread that I'm reading to you from is from a reporter at NBC News who's calling out all the different people that are spreading this dangerous lie that kids are identifying as cats and peeing in litter boxes and growling and meowing in class, and that teachers are allowing it. So let me show you that.
There's a school in Texas that someone identified, you ready for this, for a cat, and they made them put out a litter box. I thought it was something from The Onion. absolutely true.
Wow.
That is
Absolutely
because our
true.
principals don't stand up anymore.
Right.
You know, back my parents were in education, so if that would have been brought up, they would have been slapped the hell out of the classroom.
Anti-traditionalism that's happening right now is on every level, it seems like.
No, they're embracing lies. I mean, literally embracing lies. Okay, if some student wants to pretend like a cat and use a litter box after school, that's their prerogative, whatever. But no, the school and school resources and the other students and teachers should not have to be put through that because it's a lie.
Yeah.
And we have to reject them. It's not about people's feelings. It's about the truth and rejecting the lies. And we have to stand up.
You and I were talking about this. There's a school in Texas that someone identified.
There you go. So that's another incident. Here's somebody saying it's not a hoax. Catalina Loft, the House candidate, GOP House candidate. Janice Boeing and Mary Littleton, 2 Republican members of the Tennessee legislature. Listen to this. This is a big investigation, ladies and gentlemen. I'm serious. I need to get to the bottom of this. If you know, if I had a bigger reach, I'd reach out and just say, if you know a school where this is really happening, please contact me. And I need evidence, like photographs of I need to see a litter box, a human-sized litter box. Doesn't have to have a child in it, but I had the AI make me pictures of litter boxes with children in them, just so people could imagine it. But is it really happening? Is it all a conspiracy? Is it possible? Why would somebody say that? Why would everybody all at once say that the kids are identifying as animals and getting special bathroom accommodations? I'll play this.
Representative Littleton, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you guys for being here today. I just have one quick question. Do charter schools allow the furries to come as a furry into class, which is children identifying as cats or dogs?
No, ma'am. And we, one of the parts of the work that Ashley, our general counsel, does is to make sure that all of our schools are held to the same standard with regard to what the General Assembly has set forth in terms of state law. And we hold our charter schools to that state law and then also communicate that regularly. We also have a very thorough oversight and monitoring process that includes an annual site visit, review of their policies and procedures, as well as a complaint process, such that if there was a concern, that we would be able to address it very quickly with our schools.
Thank you. We're hearing that that's a problem across the state now. So
A problem across the
I think it's a
state.
problem. Anyway, thank you very much.
Chairman Bolin, you're next.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And to follow up with Representative Littleton, unfortunately, I'm hearing this in my rural districts where maybe schools are not fully disclosing that they are allowing children who identify as snakes, cats, whatever, they're providing litter boxes for the cats. And obviously, it's very disruptive to the learning process. If a child has that much of a self-identity issue, they probably need a different environment. And it's creating a lot of confusion, a lot of anxiety with the children who are boys and girls. So I'm glad to hear
So
that
you
you all, I
say.
hope there is
So you say that they're boys and girls. People might question you on that. I think that's what it comes down. I'm going to tell you my theory about it.
reawakening in our Department of Education to recognize they need to give better guidance in all of the quote unquote public schools. Charter schools are public schools. And I think that's what so many people miss the point. They are public schools and they are a defined type of public school. And I would hope that you continue as that public school to hold to rigorous health standards so that children boys are not going into boys' bathrooms and finding a girl sitting on the urinal. That's not good.
There. See, I knew
People who identify as cats using a litter box in a hallway, that is not good. that is not healthy for anybody in a lot of different capacities. So I thank you, Representative Littleton, for addressing that growing crisis in our quote unquote public schools. I'm glad to hear they're not a part of our charter public schools. Thank you.
Okay. But I think I understand where they're coming from. If they're trolling people, so I'm not playing you guys. I'm just saying, it's kind of weird. Everybody's saying it, that it's totally true. If it isn't true, it's still worthwhile as a troll. It is worthwhile to make people say, this is why I think they're doing it. Or I don't know why they're doing it. Or I don't know. It's an urban, is it an urban legend? I think I heard Viva Fry, heard him say that like his wife knows a teacher where they're actually doing this at their school. So I feel like I almost like know somebody who knows somebody where it's really happening, but I don't know. I've just heard it. And then I heard it on Joe Rogan just the other day. I'll play that clip for you. But is it really an urban legend? Because I want to get to the bottom of it. There must be one somewhere for this story to be so widespread. Or is it about the trans thing? And are people making a point that is like, okay. All right. We were just joking about the kids using litter boxes, but you get it, right? Like we don't make ridiculous accommodations for kids who think that they're something that they're not. Right. And then they're like, okay, so we don't need boys who think they're girls going in the girls' bathroom then, right? Is that what they're doing? Because I'm curious. I just have a feeling like that's where I feel like that's what came out of it. They're like, oh, we're letting kids identify as anything now, basically, right? Because they can identify as girls, they can identify as non-binary, they can identify as gender fluid or whatever. So people are saying, oh, well, they're letting them identify as cats just to try to make a point. I mean, I could see that. And anyway, it's valuable. Like people are like, oh, it's ridiculous. Of course we wouldn't do that. And you're like, really? Is it ridiculous? Like, look what you're doing. Look what you're talking about doing. You're talking about letting people like kids get naked together in a locker room where they're different. They were born different sexes. And you're saying because one of them says that they're a girl, that they go to the girls' locker room. Really? Is it that much different? Because it is worthwhile to just point out we don't let people identify. So it's worth it to point out, oh no. It's crazy to let somebody identify as a cat. Okay. But it's not crazy for them to identify as non-binary and go by different pronouns. Anyway, before I get flagged for hate speech, this is another guy saying that it's totally true that kids are using litter boxes.
There is something going on in our schools, according to this, something called furry. And I think it's spelled F-U-R-R-Y. I looked it up on Google here. Oh, I got to get back into my computer. It's described to me that we have kids in our schools that believe that they are animals. And they are identifying, I'm told, as animals. Identifying as animals. They think they're a cat. A cat. They put tails on and they demand that they have a litter box in the school. Has anybody else heard that?
I've heard it.
Have you heard about this furry thing and what? I mean, your district and mine are a long ways away, but I've talked to others here. Tell us what you know about this. I've got the dictionary. It's in the dictionary on Google, Madam Speaker.
When I heard about this, I heard that they were actually cutting holes in the uniforms for tails. And then in some cases, the students were putting on fake tails. And in some cases, one of the parents was responding to what was happening in the school, where a child that believed themselves to be a cat didn't have a physical tail, but had an imaginary tail. And they were sitting at, I think it was a lunch, the table in the lunchroom, and this imaginary tail was there, and a student came up and sat down, and the child that believed themselves to be a cat screamed, "You just sat on my tail." That was imaginary. It didn't exist.
In my district, and I won't even name the school, I will say in my district, I had a pastor come to me and he said, he is being told that in the one school district, and I'm not saying this is the case, we don't know, it's unconfirmed, but he is being told by multiple people that there's a litter box in one of the locker rooms, or bathroom, that's my understanding.
There you go. Okay. So that's true. Here's another guy who says that kids are identifying as cats. William Doc Holliday. He's a candidate for a school board somewhere. Another school board person saying that people are identifying as cats. A bunch of people saying people identify as furries. This person says they are absolutely schools allowing students to meow and bark. I can't speak for Conway because I have not confirmed it, but I've been told it is happening. And then Tulsi was on. I got to show you something else too. Here's Ohio's Board State of Education.
We are witnessing perhaps the greatest collapse in mental health in the history of the world. We've literally got kids who think they're cats and dogs using litter boxes in classrooms. And yet some of the same people who have had the most influence in these areas for many years tell us that only they have the wisdom, only they have the solutions to the complex mental health challenges many of our youth face today.
Seriously, people do have problems. This one says there's another one. Just a whole bunch. And then here's Tulsi Gabbard. She was on with Joe Rogan. And they were talking about it. Kids who identify as animals.
You know, when you don't believe in truth and, you know, you're talking about the furries, like, you know, the accommodations for this child who identifies as a cat in school, then you have the minor attracted persons. There are no boundaries anymore.
Right.
There are no
teachers in the school, and the school itself should have said no.
Exactly.
To the parent, no crazy.
Right.
First of all, what are you doing to your kid?
Right.
That you let your kid, because they identify as an animal, use a litter box. They're still a human.
Right.
Use a goddamn bathroom. It's sanitary. It's much better. Like, do you want your house to smell like human pee? What if they eat asparagus and then they pee into a box? You don't think that's gross?
That's a conspiracy.
You want to go into the bathroom and smell asparagus? The kid's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And you're encouraging that?
Right.
That's nuts.
Right.
Yeah, there's a conspiracy,
you know, when you
there's a conspiracy about asparagus pee where not everybody has it. Like people say, oh no, it doesn't have, like my pee doesn't smell like asparagus. Have you heard that? But it's all, I think it's self-reported. So some people can't smell asparagus pee. It might be it only happens to a portion of the population. You might be genetically predisposed to smelling asparagus pee. Other people don't. It was weird though. The first time I smelled asparagus pee, because I hadn't eaten asparagus really. I didn't realize how much I hadn't had asparagus till I had some asparagus and I peed and I thought I was going to die. I was like, holy shit, I'm going to die. Something's wrong with me. But yeah, I definitely wouldn't want that in a litter box. So help me out. I mean, help me out. That's all. They say that it's been falsely claimed. This guy, Tyler Kincaid, is the one who is an NBC News national investigative reporter who put together this thread where I just played you a bunch of the video where people claim that kids are using litter boxes, and he says it's totally not true. So I'm curious, is it true or not? I'm going to find out. I'm going to find out. All right, let me give you the rest of the news. Elon Musk. Elon Musk is so good at getting. I have an update on Fetterman too. Let me update you on Fetterman. He's the guy that had a stroke. Okay, I was covering this, and then it became a big story. This guy, Fetterman, who's running for office against Dr. Oz in Pennsylvania, had a stroke and isn't totally with it yet. That's it. He's like not totally with it. Just like Joe Biden has problems sometimes, this guy has problems sometimes. Sometimes they're a little worse than Joe Biden's. He needs help from a digital assistant in order to have like a conversation. And people are wondering whether he's fit for office because of it. And then now people are saying, oh no, you can't say that. Like, you're a bigot, basically. If you think that he's not fit for office, you're a bigot. You're ableist. You're ableist. So that's a new thing. And I wish I would use this more, But this is what people are saying, that Fetterman is totally fine. But to be fair, I listened to the interview. I've listened to Fetterman more than just the clips. And to be fair, he's not that bad. He compared to Joe Biden or something, or like sometimes I compare people to George W. Bush, who has such a low IQ, like you had to dig for it. Like Fetterman is, he handled himself adequately throughout the interview, even though he made a mistake with a word here and there. But actually, to be fair, he's not that bad. He's clearly has effects from the stroke, but he's not that bad. So could he not be a senator? I mean, the bar is so low. I mean, really. Could he not be a senator? I don't know. Would he be worse than Dr. Oz? Maybe, for some policy reasons and stuff. Doesn't matter if a senator is brain dead. Like, maybe it's better that they're brain dead. I mean, really. But anyway, it's important for his race, and I might wager on whether he's going to win or lose. I haven't decided yet. The reason I didn't bet against him, because I knew this was going on. I was like, this guy is a mess, and he's currently favored to win, and he's still favored to win over Dr. Oz in Pennsylvania. And it's important for the balance of power in the Senate, like whether this guy who had a stroke is going to win or not. So it matters. Anyway, the liberals are coming out in defense of him, just saying that this reporter interviewed him on MSNBC. And then she said, I had trouble making small talk with him. She said all the things. She said, well, first of all, he needed this transcription thing so that he could do the interview because he has auditory processing problems. Then on top of that, he wasn't that great at making small talk before the interview. So he's obviously got some stuff going on from the stroke. That's what she said. So now they're criticizing her for that.
I actually thought it was inappropriate that she said during small talk before our interview.
Maybe she's bad at small talk. Maybe it was her.
Maybe it's her. I just feel that, I don't know if it was an off-the-record conversation, if the entire interview was off the record, but I know, Sarah, you've interviewed people. We interview people, and we have small talk before. That is generally not something that you mention during when you're being interviewed by an anchor. The other thing that I had a problem with when she's describing all of this, I mean, I don't know about everybody else, but I love closed caption. I watch all of my series closed caption because I can't sometimes understand the accents that people are using, and I don't understand things, and it's very helpful in terms of processing, and I don't have a cognitive disorder. And so that's the second thing. And the last thing I'll say, I don't think she's like a neurosurgeon or a neurologist, but my friend Sanjay Gupta is, and Sanjay Gupta said the following. Sanjay Gupta said processing issue is not a comprehension issue, as Sarah just said. He says he does not appear to have a problem with cognition. He's responding quickly. He supposedly took a couple of tests where he performed well on those tests. He does not appear to have a problem with understanding.
Yeah. I see some people talking in the chat like that's their choice in Pennsylvania between that guy and Dr. Oz. Like that's as good as it got. Yeah, that's politics, you know. That's why I haven't bet against him, because I'd have to bet on Dr. Oz, and I didn't really love Dr. Oz. So, you know, but I do think this guy is kind of like not with it. He would have trouble, I think, with a debate. He might have trouble with other things that have to do with carrying out his services as a politician. But I mean, let's be real. Do politicians really make any decisions? Do they? I mean, really? Does Joe Biden really do anything? I mean, he comes out, he says something, and then people say, oh, he didn't mean it. You know, and that's politics. You have a team of people who write everything for you, and you have somebody who writes your speeches for you. And if you want to, you don't even have to say anything. You just play dumb, really, most of the time. Except when you have to have a speech, then if you could read a teleprompter, you're fine. You know what they did with George W. Bush, right? George W. Bush, he was so retarded that he just didn't do press conferences. Before 9/11, I mean, he was so... he would say something so stupid every time he did a press conference that they just were like, oh, okay, well, he won't do these anymore. So as far as like the range of cognitive function needed to perform the duty, but for other reasons, yeah, might be other good reasons to vote against him. Is it ableist? I don't know. People can criticize people. You know what? Like, I have autism, right? And I've had bipolar episodes too. I don't tell people that, because then they'll be like, or I mean, I wouldn't say that all the time, because then people use it against me. But I could say it and say, oh, you can't criticize me. You're a bigot. But you can still criticize people, like Kanye West. He might be having an episode, but you can still criticize him for saying what he's saying. I mean, nobody's saying it's ableist to criticize Kanye West. You know what I mean? Like, nobody's saying that. And I think it is kind of. Because what are you going to do, man? Sometimes you say stuff that might be kind of crazy. People should be like, oh, no, you can't. So that would be the thing to me. Don't criticize me. You're being a bigot.
I don't like saying rage, because I think that's a really unhealthy feeling. And when you feel those things, it only harms yourself. But I just, what a disservice that she did to not only my husband, but to anyone facing a disability and working through it. And I don't know how there were not consequences, right? I mean,
This is his wife saying there should have been consequences for them talking about her.
I don't like saying rage, because I think that's a really unhealthy feeling. And when you feel those things, it only harms yourself. But I just, what a disservice that she did to not only my husband, but to anyone facing a disability and working through it. And I don't know how there were not consequences, right? I mean, there are consequences for folks in these positions who are any of the isms. I mean, she was ableist, and that's what she was in her interview. It was appalling to the entire disability community, and I think to journalism. So I was shocked. I'm still really upset about it. And I think the positive is it's brought a lot of conversations around accommodations, around rights, around ableism, right? I mean, ableism was trending on Twitter. It just shows there's so much work to do, but these networks have to take accountability, right? Like, where is your training?
Right.
It was appalling to see. And you see that in schools, you see that with young children. You don't expect to see it at this level. And, I haven't heard in
I would just love that, though. Like, if I had no accountability, because nobody could criticize me, like, that would be great. But no, people have to, he has to read from a thing, deal with it. Like, it's reality. It's not ableist. People are wondering, oh, can he handle the job? He might not be able to handle the job. He had a stroke. People can't talk about it. People can't talk about anything. So yeah, she said that there should be consequences for the journalist just for saying something about it. All right, let me check out. Oh, Mr. T. Okay, I got to get going. But thanks for tuning in. Thanks people who dropped me a buy me a coffee. I'll read those. Thanks for people who tip on Rockfin. Let me show you this though. Mr. T tweeted out today or yesterday. Thank God for another day. I just received my annual flu shot and COVID-19 Moderna updated booster, and I feel good, he says. Mr. T, who pities the fools. So, Mr. T, well, we're taking bets. How long until he has a heart condition? But he just got his flu jab and his booster, his COVID booster, all at the same time, and he feels great. So everybody's asking him how much he got paid for that tweet, but that's a conspiracy theory too. All right, let me see what I got going on for coffee. Thanks, Blue Sport Show. Let me thank Rockfin first. Thanks, people who support the show still on Rockfin. Thank you, Vogan Filter. You're the man. Thanks for the tip. And reminder, you can always tip on there even after the show's over. Thanks, Brian M. Says, have a good weekend, Nathan and all. Thanks, chat, for the Eric Dubé recommendation. Yeah, Eric Dubé, Flat Earth. Flat Earth stuff is cool to look into. Thanks, Pete, who got a coffee, who says, I like the idea of DeSantis and Tulsi for the presidency. Going to be better than an old pervert with dementia and complete moron in Harris. I agree with that. I think DeSantis and Tulsi would be great. I still like her. Someone else bought a coffee who says, Nathan, one of the most unbiased people when with information. Oh, it's very long. This is very long. Hold on. Could I have your email or number? If so, email me back, Home Slice. Yes, you can email me at lifttheveil411@gmail.com. I put that in my, or you can contact me via direct message on Twitter. I have open DMs on Twitter. That might be better. That might be better than email, but you can try email too. I don't respond to everything, but I try to read everything. But go ahead and send me that. Thanks for the coffee. I really appreciate it. Thanks, Todd, who got a coffee, who says, although I wish you the best in your job search, I'm selfishly happy you are back regularly podcasting. Thank you for that. I tried doing a job. I like doing this more, but it still comes with challenges. But God bless everybody who supports the show. All right, I got to get going. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you for your support. And I will see you at the next one. The show is like Monday through Friday at 5 p.m., except maybe on Fridays at 4:30 or something, maybe, or 4 even, maybe. So, but Monday through Thursday, 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern time. If you have an idea for any guests or anything, you can tell me who you want to see on the show. I'll think about it. And if you have an idea for what you want me to talk about, you can tip me on buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil, and you can leave an idea there or what have you. And that's what's going on. That's what's going on in the world. So thanks, everybody. I appreciate you guys. We got through another week, and we'll see you at the next one. For now, that's what it is.